It's the NFL offseason, which means it's time for cryptic tweets and ridiculous conspiracy theories. And the newest speculation is around Drew Brees. Drew Brees tweeted out a rather important message on Sunday after it was reported that he was done at NBC after one season that said, "I may work for NBC, I may play football again, I may focus on business and philanthropy, I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids, or all of the above." I'll let you know. When he retired, Brees transitioned to broadcasting for NBC Sports and ended up alongside Mike Tirico. Now, don't get me wrong, I personally like Drew Brees, but this man sucked at broadcasting. Hell of a player on the field, but damn, he was bad in the booth. At one point, he had people wishing Jason Witten was calling games. And holy hell, if you've ever heard Witten call a game, you know just how dreadful that can be.
Throw it away. He has to understand you can live for another day, Joe. You're not going to get them all. But
the biggest game that fans pointed out was the Raiders-Bengals game in the wild card. See, Drew Brees is kinda like a politician on the air. He doesn't criticize anything and is bland and vanilla, and that makes it boring as shit. Analysts should be talking about the players' struggles or if the refs massively screw up, like they did in that game. Remember that play when a whistle was blown and then the Bengals scored a touchdown and it counted for some reason? Well, Brees kind of just glossed over it and didn't talk about it until like 10 minutes later. That was a huge moment, and he just kind of missed it, or didn't even want to bring it up. Hypothetically speaking, if Brees were to come back, what does that look like? The biggest question is, does he come back to play for the Saints? New Orleans has moved on to Jameis Winston behind center, and Sean Payton isn't the head coach anymore, although Brees has spent years with Dennis Allen. Undeniably, Brees would be playing for a better roster than he did in 2020. Saints drafted Chris Olave, signed Jarvis Landry, and signed Tyrann Mathieu at safety. It's a much better team. But do the Saints realistically want to bring Brees back? Well, it's not like they went out and drafted a quarterback they want to develop or signed a guy for a ton of money. I mean, yeah, if New Orleans won the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, things would probably be different, but they didn't. Jameis Winston is far from some proven NFL quarterback, so I have to imagine that if Brees called up the Saints wanting to give it a go, that they'd at least listen. I will say, I don't think it's really much of a possibility that Drew Brees comes back though. I have no doubt that Brees loves the game and wants to be involved, but I just don't think it's going to be on the field, especially with the way his career ended. Brees walked away after a string of injuries and old age finally starting to weigh on him, making it harder to recover. When he finally recovered, he said, "I've had some injuries in the past 2 years that have been frustrating. Both of them are kind of freak things." Of course, Brees was talking about a thumb injury that kept him out in 2019, and then a collapsed lung and broken ribs issue in 2020. His retirement made sense, and I don't think it makes sense for him to come back, especially not at 43 years old. I think Brees might be trolling a bit here. He's keeping everyone on their toes, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet we've already seen the end of Drew Brees.